Welcome to your weekday Cup of the Word. We're in Luke 19, and in this chapter, Jesus will reach Jerusalem. Chapter 13 began Jesus' journey to Jerusalem for the final time for crucifixion. This chapter will reach there. But before we get to Jerusalem, we're going to meet a man named Zacchaeus. This is the only gospel that covers Zacchaeus' life, the short man with a very big heart. Zacchaeus is kind of the contrast to the rich young ruler. The rich young ruler had all this money, and he said, I'm not sure I'm willing to give that up to follow Christ. Zacchaeus is the opposite. He was a very rich man and was willing to humble himself enough to climb up into a tree and kind of look foolish in front of everybody so that he could just see Jesus. And then when Jesus offers to go to his house and he gets a chance to talk with him, Zacchaeus says, I'll do whatever it takes to serve you. The Son of God is of so much more value than money. We're also going to have the parable of the minas, which is very similar to the parable of the talents, but it adds the detail that the king who travels to a distant country there's rebels who desire to overthrow him. They don't want him to be king. And that adds to that picture as we look at Jesus, as not only is Jesus the king of the kingdom, but there were many people who didn't want that. But in the end of the parable of the minas, the king comes back. He has the country, whether the rebels like it or not. The rebels lose, the king wins. And then we get to see the triumphal entry into Jerusalem. As Jesus enters into Jerusalem to all this praise and adulation and all these people crying his name, excited for him to be there, this is kind of the beginning of the end, because they are excited that he's there and they cry out in praise of the Christ. But when Jesus doesn't become the kind of king that they want him to be, these very same crowds will turn on him and be the ones who cry, "Crucify, crucify." Jesus will go to Jerusalem here in this chapter, and as he enters Jerusalem, that marks the 5-day mark. 5 days left for him to live. That's your Daily Cup, and we'll see you.